Okay, so the long-awaited yarn twist hair tutorial is finally here. So these are my daughter's beautiful micro locks. She's been locked for about 3.5 years. So for this style, you're gonna need some yarn, some rubber bands. Here I have my yarn pre-cut to the length that I desire, some scissors, a comb, some shine and jam for hold, and I have some hair jewelry for the end just to, decorate. Oh, and I'm going to be adding beads as well. So when cutting your pieces of yarn, you want to be as consistent as possible. So I always try to have one put to the side for measuring purposes. So depending on how thick or how big you want each twist to be will determine how many pieces of yarn you're going to use. For her hair, I only use 2 pieces of yarn for every 4 locks. The diameter of her micro locks actually mimic the diameter of the yarn. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't weighing down on her hair too much. So first you want to make sure your section is nicely parted and clean. You then take your yarn, fold it in half, and place it directly in the middle of your section. It's kind of hard to explain, but on the right side, you're going to be twisting the lock into the yarn counterclockwise, as well as on the left side. Once it's nice and twisted tight, you want to begin twisting in a rope-like fashion to make sure, it doesn't unravel or anything like that. Not only did I use the shine and jam when parting her section, I'm also using it to help blend her lock into the yarn seamlessly. So here's where it gets a little complicated. You're going to notice that it starts to get skinnier once you get past her hair. So I'm adding one extra piece of yarn where her hair ends, just so that the thickness of each twist is more consistent. So once you have about 2.5 inches left of yarn, you're gonna take one piece, wrap it around, and make a knot. I do this about 2 or 3 times just to make sure it doesn't come loose. The mosquitoes started acting real crazy that day, so we decided to go inside to finish up the rest of her hair. Now, once I got to the front of her hair, I decided to do 2 locks per twist instead of 4, just to give her a little more fullness. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, whenever you're doing any type of twist or braid over locks, you want to make sure that you do have a little bit of new growth. A fresh retighten or retwist on a style like this will actually be pretty painful. And cause way too much tension. Too much tension leads to breakage, which can lead to traction alopecia, and we don't want that. So this is a much closer look of my twisting technique. All I'm doing is matching up each side of the yarn with each side of her locks, roping them together and twisting it down. So I'm going to try to slow it down for you guys so you can see what I mean by roping. I'm kind of roping the hair with the yarn to the left counterclockwise as I'm twisting to the right, if that makes any sense. Again, once I get to the end of her locks, I'm just taking a little more of that shine and jam to help blend it into the yarn a little better. To keep each twist consistent in length, I measure as I go with the previous twist before making the knot. So again, I'm just taking the longest piece or one of the pieces to make a knot, wrapping it around each other about 2 to 3 times until I'm satisfied with its security. Sometimes you will find that a few pieces of yarn will stick out. And to fix that, you could just use a lighter, or I like to use a flat iron to melt those pieces into the twist. I'm pretty sure most of you already know how to put beads on, but just in case, I just wanted to show you how I do it. I like to use crochet needle. You could also use a beater. So once you feed in the amount of beads you want, you cut all except for one of the pieces of yarn and anchor it with the last bead before applying your rubber band. And once you've secured your rubber band nice and tight, you're gonna cut off that last piece so it's not sticking out from under the top bead. So Naya and I did want to go all out for this look, so we did decide to add more jewelry. We found these cute little jewels that had cowrie shells attached to the end, and I split open her twists just to give it a little more security before clamping them on. So that completes her look. Putting this look together was actually very spontaneous, and Hannah and I actually had a lot of fun doing this. When I tell you that this girl was feeling herself, look at her, just look. And the style did last her about 6 weeks. Please don't hesitate to let me know what other kind of fun styles or tutorials you want to see. I'm really trying to be more consistent with this IGTV thing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you soon.